Hello friends, my name is JJ, and I thought I would just make a short bonus video this week about a topic that is kind of interesting, but perhaps not interesting enough for a full Saturday video. So I'm at the age now where I've gotten pretty used to seeing the ritual of one president leave and a new president come in. And a big part of the ceremony of this transition is always the announcement of the new president's cabinet, and in particular, the new president's decision to make history with some of his cabinet picks. And the easiest way to make history is to appoint a woman to a cabinet job that no woman has ever held before.
First woman to serve as U.S. Attorney General.
The first woman ever to head the CIA.
First woman to serve as Treasury Secretary.
But that said, presidents have been trying to make history in this way for an awful long time now. So I was wondering just how many jobs are even left in the US government that have never been filled by a woman? The short answer is not many. Of the 21 positions officially considered part of the president's cabinet, every single one has been held by a woman at least once, often at least 2 or 3 times. The only exceptions is that there has never been a female Secretary of Defense or a female Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And just FYI, I am including President-elect Biden's nominees in these tallies. Now, obviously, what these two jobs have in common is that they both involve the US military, and the US military leadership has remained traditionally very male-dominated. There has never been a female member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, for instance, and of the various branches of the US Armed Forces, only the Air Force has ever been led by a woman. Although that said, the last 3 secretaries of the Air Force have all been women. In terms of jobs that are not formally part of the president's cabinet, but are still pretty high-ranking in the executive branch, most of these have been held by a woman at least once, with only a small number of exceptions. There has never been a female director of the FBI or the NSA. There has never been a female head of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Agency, and there has never been a woman in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Though they do have a female acting director right now, if you want to count that. Now, in contrast to all of that, you might be wondering which positions in the US government have historically been the best for women. Well, if we can say that women have traditionally been excluded from stereotypically masculine positions, like the military hierarchy, we can also say that women have historically been quite well represented in the executive branch's more stereotypically feminine jobs. The Department of Labor, for instance, was the first department to appoint a female secretary back in 1933, and since then it has had 7 female secretaries overall. The Health and Human Services Department is in second place with 6 female secretaries, while the Peace Corps has also had 6 female directors, and the Environmental Protection Agency has had 5. But there are also some jobs where so many women have been appointed, it has become a sort of presidential tradition to only appoint women. The United States ambassador to the United Nations is usually a woman these days, for instance. Counting Biden's pick, there will have been 5 women ambassadors in a row, 7 if we count all of the acting ambassadors too, although there was briefly a male acting ambassador last year. I feel the office of White House press secretary might be evolving this way as well. Counting Biden's pick, there will have been 4 females in a row. But nothing can compare to the office of Treasurer of the United States. Not Secretary of the Treasury Department, mind you, which will only get its first ever female appointment when Biden takes office, but Treasurer of the US, which is something different. Now, I will be honest with you, I'm not sure what this job even does except sign the dollar bills to make them legal tender. It is a high profile but mostly ceremonial position, and perhaps it is for that reason that presidents have decided this is a good place to stick women in order to get some easy credit. So get this, since 1949, every single treasurer of the United States, 16 in a row, has been a woman. So if you've ever handled US currency, you've handled a bill signed by a woman. Another fun fact is that there is no US treasurer at the moment, and the position has been vacant for almost a year, which is actually not that uncommon. According to this Atlantic article, if you add up all of the times that the position has been left empty since 1949, you get 9 years, or the equivalent of more than an entire 2-term presidential administration without a treasurer. So yes, perhaps not the most important position in the world. What is also interesting is that in recent years, the position of US Treasurer is almost always held by a woman of color as well, which I guess just shows that you can break one glass ceiling, but there's always another one above. Can you think of a woman that has held a high-profile, non-stereotypical leadership position? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this JJ bonus midweek trivia video.